break in the weather here. Been wanting to shoot a couple of videos, but it's either been raining or snowing or down around 0. Got my helpers loose here with me today. But this is Dunny. He's our school horse here at the ranch. You cinch him too tight, he'll bite you, and if you don't get on properly, he'll cow kick you. So he's makes for a pretty good lesson horse. But I've never had him in a hackamore. He's just about ready to go into one. And this is a little loose down here, fitting on him. We need a few more wraps, but I'm not going to show you that part of it today. But the wrap should be up snugger on his chin. And it's broke in enough. I use a block on some of my hackamores, but it fits the contour of his nose pretty nice. Could be a little snugger in there. But the thing with the hackamore, especially, and snaffle bit as well, but the horse is pretty visual. And with the reins, if you give them a chance, they can see your hand moving before you pull on them. So, especially when you're starting them in a hackamore, you're going to get out kind of wide. And I'll start in with my leg, you know, on the right side if I'm going to turn him right. And I'll get a little leg pressure there so I can get his attention. And then I'm just going to kind of bump him, get that head tip to the right of center. This is the first time I've ever had a hackamore on him, so he's not sure what to do to back up or bend his head. And that's pretty normal when you get on ride one. Now, I get my hands out wide here so you can kind of see my hand moving before I pull on him. And I'll just kind of bump him. I do a lot of riding with just my ring fingers on the rein. I'll kind of massage those reins a little bit with an alternating pressure. They need to learn to give to direct pressure and yield to it. But in the interim, if you just use an alternating pressure, there's not as much chance to get the resistance built in there to root on the hackamore or the snaffle bit. And especially horses that have had some bad handling in a snaffle bit, I'll really get my hands out wide, use a lot of leg, and let them see the tension in the rein coming tight and give them a chance to yield to it before the pressure comes on. And he's really kind of enjoying his nap today, which is good for the video. But the hackamore is quite a bit different than a snaffle bit. And you're going to use your legs and your seat as well as your reins. But generally when you got them into a hackamore or even a snaffle bit, you're doing a job with them. Maybe you're ponying a horse, or you're flagging another horse, or you're doing a little roping, or leading a pack string. You know, your hands are busy, so they need to be able to operate off your feet and your seat. And your hands are kind of secondary. And then, like in this country I ride up here, when you get on some of the steep hills, a lot of times you're not able to use your leg cues because your legs are really helping balance you in the saddle, and so you're just using your reins. And that's something real important to work on your horse. You know, get them to, you know, look left and ride left, and get them to go left off of just your body language and your legs, and then get, you know, keep your legs in your seat quiet and just, you know, use your reins. And I'll just kind of bump him here to wake him up. So anytime I see a change, I'm going to get quiet and you can just play with that kind of stuff in there. In between the thought going through his mind to yield to the hackamore, to back up, to get soft, before the message gets to his feet, release. That's how you get a horse light. the same with leading them. You can just, like when the weather's real cold, a lot of times I'll just get a halter on and I'll play with the horses a little bit and just see how little I can do to get them to move a foot. And I'll work on all 4 feet. Then, when I get a chance to ride, you've got a lot of stuff built in there. I really like getting my horses light, because when I am doing things with them, I believe in the invisible aids, you know. You're doing as much as anybody else to cue the horse, but nobody can see it. And I think that's real important. And the hackamore should be just above the end of the nasal bone there. Some horses maybe that are pretty poor in the halter, I may put it down just a little touch lower. If there's a lot of resistance in there and I need a little more leverage to get the head across center. Generally, if you can get the head across center, the legs will follow. And as far as your legs are going to be like a pair of scissors on your leg cues. So if you're turning left, your left leg's going to be back, moving the hindquarters to the right. Your right leg's going to be forward, moving the shoulders to the left. And if you're going to the right, it's just the opposite. So left leg forwards, moving the shoulders to the right. Right leg back is going to move the hindquarters to the left. And the hindquarters is what propels them forward. So as long as you got your head set in the direction or general direction you're going, if you can get the hindquarters to listen to you, you'll eventually make your turn without a lot of pressure up here. And the common thing is they'll go through your leg. If you're going to the right, they'll go out through this shoulder, and vice versa. You know, you'll get the nose going, and the hindquarters won't quite be listening to you on the arc you need them, and so they'll be pushing out through that shoulder. But we'll save that for another video, how to handle that. And but generally, I don't meet resistance with resistance. If you get lemons, make lemonade. So you need to get them moving through a shoulder, a bunch of different movements anyways. So if they're offering that, I'll act like it was my idea, and I just put them to work. And then when they're ready to yield and listen, we'll do what I originally wanted to do and give them a big reward. Like most things, it's easier said than done. But I generally, unless I need to get from point A to point B right now to turn a cow or do something, I don't meet resistance with resistance. I'll just use what they give me. It's free impulsion, and working them through the shoulder, that movement or movements that you can get through there, you know, I need to work on anyways. So anyhow, that's it for today. But if you really work on that horse's eye and letting them see your hand move before the pressure comes in contact, it's real valuable, and it'll get your horses really light. So now eventually you want to just get, you know, where you're single-handed and people can't see your hand hardly even move to turn left or right. But in the beginning, you just get your hands out wide where they can see it, and then just telegraph the message of where you want them to go. You can see he works better to the left than the right. But I'm not going to pull on him. I'm just going to kind of massage that nose and get him to yield. And then eventually, I won't have to have my hands very wide. I'll just move one hand, and he'll feel those reins shift, and make a real nice turn. Thank you.